Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Automate with Piyush. So today I am going to start a new playlist that is will be to completing these bots which are available on the botsDNA technology website. And guys, make sure to visit this website if you are looking for more hands-on experience and enhance your skills, because these use cases which are over here are really awesome. So today I am going to start with the first part, that is the locator use case. Let's go through this. So over here the requirement of this bot is that you have to just extract this data table, okay, and then create a sheet in Excel with such that one column should have the customer name and the second column should have the number of branches for the respective country. So for example, for this table I have got three countries, so there would be three sheets in my data table final output file. So I will download this one as well. So now as you can see over here, the sheet name would be the country name. So like there are three countries: Brazil, Canada and Egypt. So similarly there should be three sheets over here in this workbook: Brazil, Egypt and the third country name. Then in the customer name column we should have these customer names such as PNB, NRV, and then their number of branches. Like for Brazil I have got two, so in my output file it should be something like my customer name is this, its number of branches is 2, and my sheet name is Brazil. Okay, so that is how the output will be. Let's go through this bot. So I will just show the bot how it is created. For the locator solution, first of all, since we are going to interact with Chrome as a browser, so I am killing it for the best practice. In case it is already open, bot should close it. Then I am deleting the old file if it is available. Here I have set the continuous error to true, just in case. If file is not available, then also this activity will not give an error. If it is available, then it will delete it. So a new file would be generated every time. Now we are using the use application browser activity, and just to make sure, this is the modern activities that I am using over here. For these properties, the input mode I am using simulate and making sure that the window is resized to maximize state whenever it's open. Then okay, before going to this, I want to show you one more thing. The most trickiest thing about this use case was that this table keeps on changing. Like once I refresh, now there is Australia, China, India and South Korea. There are 4 countries, and if I again change it, now again here is France or Italy. Okay, so we need to make sure that bot is able to understand which table is in front of the screen. Okay, so for that, let me show you how to identify that which table is coming or what is the core of this solution. For that, I will be opening the UI Explorer and indicate this table. Any element would be fine. Now if you see over here, I have got 5 elements with the table tag: table 1, table 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that means there are 5 tables for this use case, for this particular web page, and randomly some table is being coming visible and others as invisible. So that way only one table would be properly visible at a time. And the interesting part is this selector is still validate even though it is not available on screen, but I cannot highlight it. Okay, so that means selector is valid, it's just the table is not visible on the screen. So okay, that is also an interesting thing over in this. So the idea is, if you see the selectors of these 2 different tables here, I will just copy this into a notepad and double click on table 3 and copy its selectors as well. So the trick is that there is a specific ID for each table. Like for the previous one is table 2, for this one is table 3. So the main idea is you need to figure out which table is available on the screen. Now currently there are 5 tables, there could be n number of tables in the future. So we are using a for each iterating from 1 to in32.max value. In32.max value basically refers to n number of integer values. Okay, then we are creating a table index variable which is like 1, 2, 3. Then I am using a check app state. The work of this check app state is to figure out which table is currently visible on the screen. Now over here there are two things that I have done. First, I have created an anchor, which is this requirement keyword, which would be static for all the tables which are coming on the screen. And then the customer name, because even though the table is changing, only the countries are changing over here. The customer name will still remain the same. So for that anchor, I have set for requirements. As you can see over here, these are the fuzzy and strict selector. And if I go for my main selector for that customer name, here I am using a dynamic selector. Let me just open it. So here I have set the ID to TBL and then the variable table index. For each iteration its value could be TBL1, TBL2, TBL3, just like that. Now if it is able to find the customer name, then it will say that table ID is visible on screen. Else it will simply say that this table ID is not visible and move on to check the next table ID. Now once I am able to find out the table number, then I am using a get attribute activity to fetch the parent ID of customer name. The selectors are same as this one, and here I will be able to find out this parent ID attribute. So for that what I can do, I will just show it to you on screen, indicate element and select the customer name. Now over here in the attributes we can see there is a parent ID which contains the exact table ID. Okay, and this is what we are going to use throughout all the activities. So using this get attribute, I will get the exact table ID TBL1, 2 or 3, and then I am using another get attribute to figure out the how many columns are there. This particular get attribute is using again the strict selector for that particular table only. In this, here you can see the ID is table ID and table. These are the selectors. I am only using the strict selector for this one. So using column count attribute, I will know that currently on screen how many columns are there. Like for this one, I have got total 3 columns. If I just refresh, let me just now for this one I have got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So that will be get in the column count variable. And once I get these details, I will break out of the loop. So that is one part done for each. Using this, I know that currently which table is available on the screen and how many columns are present in that. Now my second goal is to extract this data table. I need to extract whatever is over here. So there are two approaches to this. Okay, first I will explain about the name approach. The name approach would be that just like you have got the column names, you can also get the number of rows using a row count attribute, and you can go on with the for each loop, like one for row and another for column, and keep on extracting each cell using get text. Okay, but that will be taking too much time because bot is going to come over here, first extract customer name, then Germany, then Mexico, then New Zealand, one by one for each cell. It is going to be taking a lot of time. So instead what we are going to do, we are going to use our extract data table activity and we are going to make it dynamic. So to explain that, I will simply click on this sequence and then let me show you. Here I am using a use application browser activity, and inside that I have an extract data table. In this, in an extract data table, there are three things which are mandatory to extract any data table. First one is a selector, that which table you want to extract, what it's the selector will define the element. Like over here, just for the video purpose, here I have set it as TBL5. So for table 5 this selector will work. Then I have got extract metadata. This extract metadata will define the column names and their attribute which is required for extracting. So like over here we can see for the metadata, let me just copy this and I will paste it over here. Now in the metadata there are two things. One, a static part, the first line and the last line. These are static, which are required in no matter how many columns are there. Then this is the dynamic part. Okay, like based on the column, here the column name should change and attribute will remain text. So what we can do, we need to make some way it dynamic so that bot can create this string altogether. If the column name is Italy, it should, instead of customer name, it should write Italy if the first column is Italy. Okay, so that's what we are going to do in the logic and create this complete string by bot only. Then second important thing is table settings, for which also we are going to do the same process. Now if I just copy this also and paste it over here, in this also there are certain static things and certain dynamic things. So for example, the first line, this is static. There is nothing which is similar to a column name or which is visible on the screen. Then in this one, this second line is dynamic, and these two lines, let me just separate this. These three lines are again static, which is coming visible in all these below formats. So the only thing which is dynamic for me is this one single line, and the thing which is dynamic in this is, we can see the reference name. It contains the current column name over here and the reference index 0 and the name customer name. So this reference IDX is just a sequential number 0, 1, 2, 3. So probably 0 means 0 is defining that this column will come on 0th index. This column will come on first index. So we need to create the logic so that bot is able to recreate this whole string itself and then pass it to the extract data table. So bot can identify how many columns are there and which columns of data it needs to extract. Okay, so to do that, we have got a sequence over here which is prepared for table extraction. Now in this we are creating two variables. One is table metadata and another is table settings value. Here I am using a string builder. I could have used a simple string concatenation, but I am using a string builder. String builder's work is to concatenate multiple strings you can add on, but the preference why I gave to it is because of memory utilization. A string builder will not create a new object every time I am adding a new string and new line to the variable, whereas if I would have done a string concatenation, something like moving on to this, say if I have got hello, okay, and now I want to add a keyword world to it. If I do go with this approach, what will happen, this is going to create two objects for me, and thus two spaces of memory is created in the system. Whereas if I use a string builder and again do the same, hello dot append world, and this time, since a string builder is a mutable object, you can do the changes in it. It is going to create only a single object, thus less memory would be used, so our bot will be faster and would be more workable. So I have created two string builders. The way of creating a string builder is, in the variables panel you need to define its variable type, which is system.text.string builder, and you have to initialize it with the new string builder function. And then to append this, you can simply say variable name dot append and which string you want to append in it. So first for metadata, I will go back to the notepad. Here, this is the metadata for us. So first string I am appending is this first line. So here I have simply said table metadata dot append, and within double quotes in a bracket I have simply copy paste that line. Similarly, for table settings value, I have done the same. Table settings value dot append, and then copy paste the line, the first line which is static in our table settings value, this one. Okay. Then providing a log message that what is doing. And now for each column, we are going to update the metadata and settings value. So first I have used an enumerable dot range 1 to total number of columns. So the column count variable, as we used in the previous for each, through here we were able to find out that how many columns are available on the screen using the get attribute activity right over here. So say there are 5 columns. So this enumerable dot range will say 1 comma 5 and will work till that 5 times. And this cint, the work of cint is over here to simply iterate 5 times, like sorry, to convert the string to integer, that is cint, convert to int, a short form. So what I am doing again, created a variable for column index item.toString, because I am passing that in the get text header name. In this also I have passed this as a dynamic variable. I will just open it. So first is table ID, which you saw in the previous sequence. We were able to extract if it's TBL1, TBL2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And here I am passing table row 1, which is the first row, and table column attribute I have set as column index. Now it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. And then I am appending this string over here, like for table settings value. I will open this. Here I have written string.format. This complete string is same as over here, this one. And for say reference name, here it is coming customer name, whereas instead of this I have set as curly braces 1, and reference index I have set as curly braces 0. So the curly brace 1 will be replaced by the variable which is on second time after the column, and curly brace 0 will be replaced by the first value after the comma. Here item is starting from 1, whereas our indexing should start from 0. So what I am saying, if item is 1, just I have 1 minus 1, 0. If it's 2, 2 minus 1, 1. So indexing would be 0 based. Okay. Similarly for metadata, and we are doing the same thing. Here I have simply passed column name, curly braces 0, and it will be replaced by column header value. Once this for each loop completes, it is going to create the table settings value and data for me. And then for closing, I am adding the closing tags over here. Just make sure if you want these tags, what are we appending over here, you can create a simple static use application browser and extract data table activity by simply like clicking on extract data wizard, add data, selecting any element, extract yes, and save. That's how easy it is. Oh wait, I guess it just created an error because of this. What I can do, I can just simply delete it and click on table extraction. We'll do the same thing again. has been okay. Maybe UiPath is giving me an error or it is gone. Anyway, I have got these extract metadata and table settings value. So you can copy this, utilize the same format. Okay. Then we are done with our preparations for extracting the data table. Now it's time to extract it. So I have simply used an extract table data just like this one. You can copy this one over here, right over here, and then change extract metadata with the table metadata dot toString, table settings with table settings value dot toString. So we are converting our string builder to a string format. And then here I am again using just a selector which is dynamic with tag table and ID as table ID. So it is going to detect the exact table on the screen. In the window selector as just the parent selectors. And this also you need to make sure that the number of items is set as 0, because 0 refers to all the any number of rows which is visible on the screen. And then we are saving it in an Excel sheet. So by now we have completed the first phase of our bot. We have gone to website and extracted the table in a particular Excel sheet. Hope you were able to understand. If you have any doubt, you can just pause the video right now and go back to understand what is metadata, what is settings value, how we are making it dynamic. Okay. Then next, time to filter out the data as for the required output. So I'm using a for each with type argument as system.data.data column, and the way enumerable is extract data table dot columns. This is going to give me the list of columns which is present in my table. Then I am taking the country name, like using country dot column name. Now the first column in this table will always be the customer name, so I need to skip that because my sheets will be created based on the country names only. So for that I use a if condition. If my country name is equal to extract data table dot columns indexing 0, because 0 index position will be always the customer name, and then dot column name. So basically if if the country name variable contains the value customer name, then continue to the next column name. Okay. Then say I have got the first country which is right over here, Germany. So what I want, I have created and configured filter in which there is only one thing. I want the first column and that specific country column. So instead of here I have passed the country name as a variable. So what this is going to do, in the DT country table, it is going to give me two columns, customer name and the country name. Okay. So customer name would be there, and if it's Germany, then Germany column would be there. If it's Mexico, then on first position Mexico will be there. So DT country table now contains only country specific column, and then I am removing any column which contains first column as 0. Like keep only those values which does not have 0 in it, because like for example for Nigeria, PNB has 0 branches in Nigeria, so I don't need to mention it in the sheet. Okay. So for PNB, its name should only come in Germany, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand and Russia, but not Nigeria. And filtered out this. Once we are done, now another thing we need to check is like the second column name. If I open that sheet, Locator output. So this is the sample which the requirement is says the number of locations should be the column name for the second one. So over here what I have said are assign that my DT country table variable dot columns, first column and column name. I am changing its property to number of branches, or I can say over here as well number of locations as in the output file. That way, for during this transaction period, the DT country table's first column name would be this one. and then we are going to use a write range with add headers property set to write it with the sheet name as country name in the same locator output file. And just for safety, I am making the country table variable to nothing, so that in any scenario, even though that is not possible right over here, but when it is again recreating that data table from the extract data table variable right over here, it is not going to pick any data from the previous country. And that's it. Once we are done, our process would be complete. So let me just show you a demo of this bot. I will just close out everything before that. Let's just keep it right over here and close this as well. And now I will run it. So now the bot is opening the Google Chrome, and over here it has found a table with 4 columns: customer name, Brazil, Canada and Egypt, and there could be n number of rows over here. And bot is complete. So first let's see how much time it took. It took nearly 23 seconds to complete this work. Okay, that is even less than half a minute. And so if I can see the logs, it says it has deleted the old files. Then it checked that table 1 is not visible, table 1, but the table 2 element was visible on the screen, so it worked. Then it started for table extraction. It extracted the table from web, then it filtered the data for Brazil, Canada and Egypt, and process is completed. Now let's check the output if it is proper or not. So I will just select this. Okay, so here I've got all the customer names and all the countries data. This sheet 1 is the actual input which is visible on the screen. Now if I take for Brazil, PNB has 2 and go to Brazil sheet, it is showing me the exact data. PNB over here has 2 locations. For Canada it says 4. Canada sheet, PNB has 4, and that would be correct for Egypt as well, 5. Now let's see if there is any row. Okay, so Brazil has 0 entries for this bank. So I will just copy this and let's check. It should not be present in Brazil sheet. If I just control paste, find next, it is unable to find it. So that worked. So our bot is ready. So that's it guys for this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you were able to understand how to build this locator bot, and I would say to practice and rebuild it. If you are unable to understand in one go, try to revisit the video and do a hands-on, so you'll be able to understand more about how to create dynamic variables, dynamic selectors, and make it easy. Hope you guys like this video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. For any queries, do reach out to me. You can contact me on my email or on LinkedIn, and if you want this solution, you can let me know. I have no problem with that. See you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.